So, you just dropped hundreds of dollars to buy this camera right here, the Osmo Pocket 3. So now what? Well, I'm going to give you 20 settings that you need to change immediately to get started. Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. I do want to say I am sorry I haven't posted in a few weeks. Been a lot of personal stuff and work stuff. But I'm glad to get this video to you. For weeks I've been racking my brain on how I want to shoot this video. Do I want to make it super creative? And then I just realized, F that, man. Let's just get right to the settings. Let's cut out all the BS and let's get right to it. So right out of the box, the first setting you want to change is your image quality. You have your resolutions, your frame rates. Go ahead and slide that to the desired resolution that you need. A lot of people want that 4K, but some people are okay with the 1080. On the top right-hand corner of that same screen, you'll notice your aspect ratio setting. If you hit that, you can change it from 16:9 to 1:1. Now, obviously 16:9 is your traditional aspect ratio. It's like watching your TV or watching your phone when it's horizontal. 1:1 is more kind of like your Instagram, your square box. So it's up to you and your preference on what you want to have. Next up is your exposure. We want to go ahead and hit that up to manual. And while in there, you can see that we have a few different options. We have your shutter speed, we have your ISO, but what I want to focus on is your EV. If you click on that, it'll give you the option to change that to your desired setting. My suggestion would be -0.3 EV. I have found that is the best way not to have overblown footage, so I highly recommend that setting. All right, now let's go to image adjustment. We're going to click on that, and then we are going to adjust our sharpness to -1 or -2. I still am trying to figure out which one I like the best, but the reason I suggest this is if it's too sharp, it's going to look like cell phone video or GoPro video. So if you knock down that sharpness a little bit, it's going to get you closer to a mirrorless camera or any other type of camera you might be shooting with. It'll look a little bit more professional. My fifth tip for you is to change the gimbal speed. Go ahead and put that to the slowest setting possible, and that way your footage will be as smooth as possible. And keeping with that same thought, let's go ahead and adjust our joystick speed to 1. Just like our gimbal speed, this will make things smoother as we use our joystick to create our shots. My next tip is to adjust your gimbal startup direction to your last setting. That way if your camera turns off and you turn it back on, it'll be right back to the settings you last have it, and you can get to shooting even faster. Now at the start of each shoot, I try to do a gimbal calibration. So all you have to do is put that on a nice level surface, hit the calibration button, and it'll do all the work itself, and all this does is help level out your shots. While we're in the menus, let's go ahead and hit our reference lines. Let's turn those on, that way we can get great framing as we're shooting. By default, when you get the Osmo Pocket 3, when you flip the screen to vertical mode, it will actually power off within 2 seconds unless you hit a button. To turn that feature off, let's go down to rotate screen to power off, and let's hit never. That way we can shoot vertically without any interruptions when we start. Sticking with that same thought, let's change our screen orientation to auto. That way whenever you do change the screen orientation, your video will match that same orientation. Next up, let's change the slider to zoom. When you use the slider on your screen, it can either function as a zoom or your joystick for the gimbal. It's more practical to use the joystick as the gimbal and let the zoom be on the slider on the screen. I don't recommend using the zoom slider all that often, as the zoom on this camera isn't the best because the megapixels in this camera are very low, so you're not going to get super great quality when you zoom in digitally with this camera. For any vloggers or anyone who needs to film themselves, when you have this in selfie mode, let's go ahead and turn that face tracking on. That way you always stay in frame. Sticking with selfie mode, let's go ahead and turn our glamour effects off because those can look very fake, and let's keep the filters to Instagram. As you're filming in selfie mode, you may also notice that any text or anything is mirrored. So you can go to your selfie flip option in your settings and you can turn that off. Now, if you're going to use this camera for photos, I highly recommend changing your storage settings to JPEG and RAW. That way you get both of those files when you take a picture. Now, the JPEGs are smaller in file size, so that may be more convenient for you, but if you want to do a lot of photo editing, the RAW photos are going to bring out more details that the JPEG simply just cannot. Now, if you're going to shoot video, you need great audio, so I highly recommend turning your wind reduction on. That way you can reduce wind noise while you're recording. Another great audio feature is the audio direction. You can change this from a few different options, but I highly suggest using your front if you're going to record mainly what's going to be in front of your camera. Obviously, if you want to do voiceovers while you're shooting in front of you, you want to have the back microphones on, but I rarely ever need those, so I just leave them on front. One great feature with this camera is the built-in mic backup. What this does is if, say, your microphone is disrupted and your signal getting back to the camera is messed up, this will actually save a backup file of the built-in audio for this camera. That way you are saved when you're editing. It may not be the best audio to use compared to your microphone, but it's not disrupted. Now, my final tip has to do with your playback. If you go into your playback media, you may notice that there is no audio. Don't freak out. I'm sure your audio is there. You just got to go up to the right top corner and hit that, and then to the slider at the bottom to get your audio as loud as it can be. So those are my 20 settings I would change straight out of the box with the Osmo Pocket 3. If you think I'm missing any and you want to let me know, put them right down in the comments. Maybe you'll help someone else, maybe you'll help me, and I would appreciate that. But appreciate you watching, and if you could, leave a like and subscribe. I would love to bring you guys more content. I'd like to know I'm doing a great job, so if you like, subscribe. That lets me know I'm going in the right direction. So have a nice day, and I appreciate you.